Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. Hope you're doing well. I am doing okay. It's been a little bit of a sad time. I had mentioned before that Joe's mom passed away a few weeks ago. A week ago was the funeral, and it coincided with the first of two big snowstorms we had. So Joe and I had to get on the train to DC, and we barely made it on the train because of the weather, because we had to leave very early. So it was a very long day, and it was a very sad day, but it was also a really beautiful day because it was a celebration of an amazing woman's life. I mean, she was 97. I would pray that we all can live that long, but not just that. She lived a really beautiful life and a inspiring life. And so much of that came out in the readings that were done and the beautiful mass, and the entire service was just beautifully done. And it was lovely seeing Joe's family. I haven't been around he comes from a family of 12 children. So, and there's a lot of grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So it was nice to see them again. So I'm also in that little bit of that, post-holiday drab, seasonal affect disorder? I know it stands for, it's an acronym, is SAD. Well, I got that. I get that every year. I mean, that's just the thing. I know I'm not alone. This is why I'm so pale, and I really need to try to soak up as much sunlight as possible, and also get to the gym and use the sauna and that kind of stuff, because that helps. I also was saving this dress for Valentine's Day, but I figured, this might elevate my mood, because red does help. And nothing elevates my mood quite like new clothes. So here we go. I also have a package from Patrick. So it's very sweet. I'm going to try to open it the proper way, but I might have to use my sword. I think I do. So here we go. Da-da-da-da. All right. I'm getting excited about Valentine's Day with the Bloody Valentine Bookworms zine coming out, and of course, the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, which I'm very excited about. Alex, the bookubus, is going to be joining us for the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, so that's adding to more of the fun. And I'm excited about it. I already have the first book picked. Okay, here we go. Patrick always outdoes himself. Let's see what we got. Dear Regina, I'm so sorry. I'd forgotten. I'd put these aside for you for the holiday and winter season and neglected to include them in your recent package I sent you. No need to apologize, Patrick, really. I mean, you're too much. I'd even written a card for them too. Enjoy this delayed holiday surprise. Sincerely, Patrick. Oh, wow, they're very sweet. All right, here we have a lovely card. Well, this is brightening my mood. It says, be merry and bright. See, it matches my dress. You never know what the day's going to hold for you. That's why you should always dress for it. That is my philosophy, if I have one. That's pretty close. Ooh, pretty. Oh, I love this old-fashioned card. Isn't that lovely? Dear Regina, what's more Christmas and cozy holiday fun than a body under the tree? Okay, I think it says body. Wishing you the merriest of Christmas and happiest of New Year. Sincerely, Patrick. P.S. Give Batilda my love and a Merry Christmas, my dear. I'm sure Batilda will appreciate it. This is great. So I think that note was in reference to this book, Hercule Poirot's Christmas by Agatha Christie. I just read an Agatha Christie recently, The Halloween Party, I think it was called. Yes, Halloween Party. So I have not read this one, so I might save this for next Christmas. Oh, wow. I really want to read this. Thank you so much, Patrick, for sending this to me. The Terror by Dan Simmons. This has been on my list. The men aboard the HMS Terror, part of the 1845 Franklin expedition, the first ever to use steam-powered vessels to search for the legendary Northwest Passage, are entering a second summer in the Arctic Circle without a thaw, stranded in a nightmarish landscape of encroaching ice and darkness. Endlessly cold, they struggle to survive with poisonous rations, a dwindling coal supply, and ships buckling in the grip of crushing ice. Okay, it goes on, and this is an AMC original series now. All right, this sounds like a great winter read. when the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge is done, I will be picking this up and watching the show. This sounds amazing and really scary. And I really like Dan Simmons. I think he's great. Okay, on to the main event. Now, this is a request. I don't remember who requested this, but someone had commented on one of my VC Andrews videos. Can you do a review of My Sweet Audrina? Now, I know, I guess I didn't do a review. I know I've mentioned the book before. And, well, now I sat down and read it again. And I read the sequel. And I watched the movie. So we're going to talk about it. So I cannot talk about these books without giving away a lot of the secrets. So there will be spoilers galore. I'm just putting that right out there. I don't want to make anyone angry that I gave away the twist or anything, because this is a discussion, not a review. So if you haven't read My Sweet Audrina, I recommend that you read it first before you watch this video. But because a lot of VC Andrews fans have read the book, I figured you're probably okay. Just a warning. Okay, so I have a really nice copy of a first edition of the book that I found in a thrift store or used bookstore, I don't remember which. And I read this copy without the dust jacket, so I didn't mess it up. All right, so I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of these things wrong, because these plots are very complex, but there's always someone who lets me know in the comments when I do get it wrong. But it starts out with Audrina. This is in her narration, both books, and she is what you would call an unreliable narrator in that she's a child. She believes she's 7 years old, I think. Is it 7 or 9? 7. In her words, her older sister, who was 2 years older than her, the first and best Audrina, is dead. And every Sunday the family visits the first Audrina, the older sister, her grave. So they have their own family plot on their estate called White Fern, which is this beautiful old Victorian Tudor-style mansion. And the Adair family were an old Tidewater, Virginia family going back centuries, and they were once a respected family, and now they're considered a bit eccentric and weird, and might be something wrong with them. The household is the father, Damien, the wife, Lucietta, a glamorous wife, not quite the Corinne type. She's a very grand woman of the house, kind of a distant mother. And then there is filling in the Olivia type. There's a repetition of these types and character tropes in all of these books. And that's what makes them wonderful, because you get to know them. But the Lucietta's sister is Elsbeth, and I love that name. But they're very, she's the plain one. Lucietta is the pretty one, the glamorous one. And Elsbeth is a bitter old, kind of has a bitter old maid attitude, although she's not an old maid, because she has a daughter named Vera. And Vera reminds me a lot of Bathilda, actually. And she does everything she can to torment and torture her. Well, Vera has her own problems. In the very beginning of the book, she falls down the stairs. I've lost count on how many people fall downstairs in this one particular staircase in these two books. But it gets to be a little bit like, they're going to do that again? Another character falling down the stairs? But yeah. And Vera has some kind of bone condition where her bones are very brittle. She says it's because she's a true blue blood, and she throws that in Audrina's face. She never misses an opportunity to just destroy Audrina's self-esteem at every turn. So Vera is a character. And Damien, the father, she calls him Papa, but it's really her uncle, or is it? We shall find out. And she does everything she can to try to get his love. Her own mother just kind of hates her, basically. And Elsbeth really spends her time in kind of a spinsterish mode where she just never really leaves the house, and she cooks and cleans, and she's really bitter, and she pretty much hates everybody. So this is the household, and it's not a very healthy one, if you couldn't guess. Damien, the father, is some kind of stockbroker or something. He's in finance, so they have money, but he's done some dirty dealings too, which comes out in the book, but it wasn't anything that really remember that much because to me it wasn't really that important. But yeah, that's his profession. Audrina is told over and over again to not go in the woods because something really horrible happened to the first and best Audrina. And so this is all told through like a childlike prose. Don't go into the woods because horrible things happened, and this is why your older sister Audrina, the first Audrina, is dead. Because the boys did something terrible to her. And then there's this weird thing where we have Audrina's room, the first Audrina's room, and all the toys are there. Nothing's been changed. There's a rocking chair in the room, and Papa makes little Audrina sit in the chair and rock and try to become like the first Audrina, to remember her, to get her memory back, all of her sweetness and her perfection, but not the bad stuff. It's like a really weird kind of like self-hypnosis that she's subjected to. But basically it's child abuse. And there is a lot of child abuse in this book and in all of these books really. I don't know, I think there's some kind of a rule about in aesthetics that if something is done in like a melodramatic way, like Italian opera, you can experience the catharsis of that without it being so extreme that or realistic that you can't handle it or you can't absorb it. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's some kind of aesthetic rule about that. Something from my undergraduate program. I probably got that completely wrong. Anyway, where are we now? Okay, so Vera is considered her cousin, but it's more like a sister. And as we find out, she might be a sister. She is taunting Audrina constantly. And Vera is also very sexually kind of nymphomaniacal, I guess is the word. I mean, it's kind of like the Fanny character. We have this type that occurs in these V.C. Andrews books. And Vera is actually one of my favorite characters. And she is truly evil, but in a lot of these books, you see that the motivation behind somebody's being evil is the fact that they really haven't gotten any love, which you can look at a lot of evil people that way. They chose the wrong path or whatever, but she's doing her best. Anyway, Audrina decides to take music lessons from a local music teacher, so she's able to get out of the house a little bit. Oh, in the meantime, she runs into a boy named Arden, who's maybe a couple years older than her, and he lives on the estate in the old carriage house or something, and with his mother named Billy, who's this beautiful woman. She looks like Elizabeth Taylor. She had once been a professional figure skater, but she lost both of her legs to diabetes, I believe, and she scoots around on like a little chair. We don't learn that about her right away because Audrina meets her and she's always kind of leaning out the window. So we have our disabled character that we see as a recurring theme. And I really like the Billy character. In a lot of V.C. Andrews books, there will be characters in wheelchairs. Of course, V.C. Andrews herself was physically challenged in a wheelchair for a good part of her life, in bed for a good part of her life. And I almost feel like this continuing to return to the staircase, where so many characters fall down the staircase, is very reminiscent of V.C. Andrews, the story she told about her own disability. And I read about it last year in Andrew Niederman's biography about V.C. Andrews, The Woman Beyond the Attic. I really like this book. There's so many bad reviews of not only this book, but of Andrew Niederman's V.C. Andrews work. I don't really get it. I mean, it's hard to take the place of the original author, but I think he does a really good job. I'm going to get to that later. And I don't really understand some of these responses to his work. I mean, it's not the same. It's not as good, but I can't imagine anyone else doing a better job, if that makes sense. Okay, but what do I know? I'm just a reader of this stuff. So Audrina is like terrified of men. She's scared of Auden, and because she's been taught to fear because of this horrible thing that happened to the first Audrina, but she'll never be as good as that Audrina. And it's just like a weird kind of a gaslighting going on. And so not only do we have physical abuse and sexual abuse, but also emotional abuse of this child, which is pretty heavy and pretty horrible. So, but she makes friends with Auden and Billy. And then she starts having, and I might be a little out of order with this, she starts taking music lessons from a local music teacher. And because her mother was a concert pianist, she had talent, but she gave it all up to marry Damien, and it ruined her life, basically. So she starts taking music lessons. Of course, Vera has to come along, and Vera does everything she can to seduce the music teacher, and does just that. And pure Vera fashion. And I really enjoyed how those scenes are described. The clothes that Vera is wearing or not wearing, in the case of her when she takes off her bikini top. I mean, it's fabulous. But before that, I believe it happens, I think I'm a little out of order. Before that, Lucietta gets pregnant again. The mother goes into early labor, and the baby, I don't know why they don't have a hospital. I forget why the doctor's not there. But anyway, she has a home birth, and the baby gets stuck in the birth canal. The mother dies, and the baby, Sylvia, is born. She has some problems. So after that is when Audrina takes piano lessons, and Vera comes along to a Lamar. He's the name of the music teacher. And, of course, Vera does her thing and then claims that she is pregnant. And there's this really disgusting miscarriage scene, which I'm really not even going to go into, but like I seriously gagged at what Vera did during that scene. So Vera, not to be deterred by a miscarriage, claims that she's pregnant to the music teacher, and they run off together to New York. So she leaves a note telling the truth to Audrina that Damien is in fact her father, who had an affair with Elsbeth, Lucietta's sister. And Elsbeth is still in love with him. And this is why she stuck around all these years. And when she got pregnant with Vera, she went away for a while and came back. And then they pretended that Vera was somebody else's mistake. So Vera is burdened with that. And Elsbeth is really in love with Damien. But she decides to leave and is found dead at the bottom of the stairs in her traveling suit with her suitcase. So it's a bit of a mystery. So she's dead. A lot of people falling downstairs. Like I said, it's hard to keep it straight. Later, we find out when Vera comes back that she destroyed this man's life and he actually committed suicide. So Vera is just bad news. And I love when she comes back to White Fern and she's got her outfit on. Now, she does have a little bit of a disability. One leg is a bit shorter than the other, so she's got a little 1-inch heel to add a little bit of height. So there's always this sense of, even though Vera is, this terrible person, you do kind of feel sorry for her a little bit. At least I did. Maybe I'm just a sucker for manipulation. Anyway, so Audrina's relationship with Auden starts to blossom more and more. Vera is, of course, working on Auden when she comes back. But Audrina and Auden elope together, and because of her trauma, she really doesn't respond sexually to Auden. So he's frustrated. After they elope, they come back to White Fern, and Damien and Billy are in a relationship. And there's this really kind of cool scene where Audrina walks in on Damien and Billy in bed together, because Billy moves into the house, and she's repulsed by it. But, I thought, hey, why not? Billy is really shamed, which she shouldn't be, because, she has every right to a physical relationship if she wants. But Audrina's also concerned that Damien is going to, destroy Billy the way he destroyed her mother and every other woman in his life. So she has a point there. Vera moves in, and she and Auden have an affair. Now, Auden, and then the way his character develops in the next book, is a very weak man. That we've seen this kind of weak male character. I think Christopher is, from Flowers in the Attic. And nothing is more dangerous than a weak man. So the next thing we know, Billy is found at the bottom of the stairs as well. You would think at this point they would put like one of those little gates up, like I have a gate on I have a steep back stairs. There's a little gate up so the dogs don't fall down. You think at least they would do that, or that the cops would get a little suspicious of all of these people falling down these stairs. So Sylvia, the baby, is in a hospital for special needs children for a couple of years, and then she's brought home. And she does have a lot of like cognitive problems. And Audrina's kind of stuck taking care of this baby because Damien kind of makes her, he's like, this is your role now. Like, it's really unfair because she has her own life. So Audrina's very upset about everything that's going on. And she ends up back in the rocking chair and remembers the horrible thing that happened in the woods, that it was her and not the first Audrina, or like she hasn't brought it all together yet, but she sees that Arden is actually one of the boys who didn't participate in the attack, but he ran away like the coward he is and the weak person he is. I actually think the story would have been even better if he had been the one or one of the boys who actually participated in the attack. Like that would have just turned the screw a little more, but maybe that's just the way I think in my sick mind. But Audrina's so upset, she does a backflip down the stairs and ends up in a coma. And then Vera tries to kill her. And in this time when she's in a coma, she's hearing Vera and Arden whispering, and it is revealed that she is the first and best Audrina. There was no second Audrina. This was just some crazy idea that the parents came up with. I think it was Damien's idea to keep Audrina from knowing the truth and feeling shame, which she should not have. This was a thing where, first of all, why are these boys not arrested? It's all kept a big secret, which, that's what these books are about. It's about family secrets, and they're still going on, family secrets. I have a few of my own. I could tell stories, and maybe someday I'll write it all down. But in the meantime, I'll just enjoy reading these books. Anyway, they tried to give Audrina electric shock therapy, but it was so horrifying that they brought her home and decided to put this complete ruse. So Vera is actually kind of telling the truth. In her coma, though, as she's coming out of her coma, she starts to remember everything, and she remembers that it was Vera who set her up. It was her birthday party. She had on her party dress, and Vera told her to go through the woods. It's a shortcut, and she told those boys to attack her. So Vera turns out to be extremely evil, but you can guess what happens to her at the end. Yep, she goes down the stairs, and that is the end of Vera. So at the end of the book, Audrina decides she's going to leave all this madness behind her, leave White Fern forever, take Sylvia with her, although Sylvia doesn't want to go. So at the very end, she's going to drive off into the sunset. And as I'm reading this, even though I read it before, I'm like really hoping that she will leave, because there's no healing in a toxic environment. Like, she's got to get away from the madness of White Fern. As she's about to drive off, she realizes that she can't leave Sylvia there. She's got to return and do what's right for her. Although I really wish that she would leave, because that's the only way that she can heal. So that was a very convoluted discussion of what goes on in this crazy book. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's not a long book, but there's a lot going on, as you can tell. So I talked a lot this video, so I think I'm going to just wrap this one up and then do a part 2 immediately after this for White Fern. So let me know in the comments below if you read my sweet Audrina. I would love to hear your thoughts. I also wanted to let you know that I wrote a book called Black and Blue Ivy, and it is my homage to V.C. Andrews. So you may read that for free on Wattpad. It'll be linked below. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.